Stories of catastrophic floods appear in cultures throughout history, from ancient Mesopotamia to the biblical lands. But these aren't just isolated tales. They share striking similarities, hinting at deeper connections and forgotten origins. Join me as we explore the mysterious echoes between the biblical flood and the Epic of Gilgamesh. Good evening, Blasphemous folks. I'm Krista, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're embarking on a journey into the fascinating world of comparative mythology. We'll be exploring the often overlooked connections between stories in the Old Testament and the myths and legends of ancient civilizations, specifically Sumer, Babylon, and Egypt. Prepare to be surprised, perhaps even a little shocked, by the parallels we're about to uncover. From flood narratives to creation myths, we'll be delving into the ancient origins of some of the most well-known stories in Western culture. So grab your thinking caps, your rulebooks, and perhaps a pinch of incense, and join me as we uncover the surprising similarities between the Bible and the ancient myths that came before. The story of Noah's Ark, as told in the Old Testament, is a powerful tale of divine wrath, human survival, and a world reborn. But centuries before the Bible was written, similar flood narratives echoed through the cultures of the ancient Near East. These stories, passed down through generations, became deeply embedded in cultural memory, shaping religious beliefs and influencing the development of later texts. Perhaps the most famous parallel is the Epic of Gilgamesh, a Mesopotamian poem where the hero encounters Utnapishtim, a man who, like Noah, survived a great flood sent by the gods. Both stories feature a divine warning: the construction of an ark to save family and animals, the flood's devastating duration, the sending out of birds to search for land, and the eventual landing on a mountaintop, followed by a sacrifice to the gods. While there are differences in the details, the reasons for the flood, the ark's specific dimensions, the rewards given to the survivors, the core narrative remains strikingly similar. But the flood myth isn't limited to these two accounts. We find echoes of it in the Babylonian Atrahasis epic, the Akkadian Deluge tablet, Egyptian mythology, and even in the Greek myth of Deucalion and Pyrrha. These recurring flood narratives suggest a shared human experience, a collective memory of the destructive power of nature, and the enduring hope for renewal and survival. They also demonstrate how stories and myths evolve and adapt over time, influencing the development of religious beliefs and cultural traditions across millennia. From Hollywood blockbusters to indie games, ancient flood myths continue to ripple through modern media. These primal tales of destruction and rebirth resonate deeply with audiences, inspiring creators across platforms. Let's see how these age-old narratives shape today's entertainment landscape. In film, Darren Aronofsky's Noah delivers a visually arresting and thematically rich take on the biblical flood. The film explores environmentalism, human fallibility, and the weight of divine commands. The depiction of the Ark, the flood's devastating power, and the unique portrayal of the Watchers as fallen angels encased in rock create a truly memorable cinematic experience. For a lighter take, Evan Almighty offers a comedic spin on the Noah story, weaving in modern anxieties about faith, family, and environmental responsibility. Its humor makes the flood myth accessible to a broader audience. Though not a direct adaptation, the disaster film 2012 draws on the imagery and sheer scale of apocalyptic floods from ancient myths, tapping into our primal fear of global annihilation. The film's portrayal of worldwide destruction and humanity's desperate fight for survival struck a chord with viewers. Turning to video games, the God of War series, celebrated for its brutal combat and epic narrative, finds inspiration in a blend of mythologies, including flood stories and divine showdowns. While Kratos' saga is grounded in Greek mythology, his struggles mirror those of heroes from ancient flood myths who confronted divine wrath and the raw force of nature. Even historically focused games like Assassin's Creed Origins contain subtle nods to flood myths and their symbolism, reminding us of these narratives' enduring presence across time and cultures. From epic struggles to humorous retellings, modern media continues to find new ways to engage with these ancient and powerful themes. Beyond the spectacle of film and games, literature offers a deeper dive into flood myth themes. Ancient texts like the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Atrahasis epic, and the Deluge tablet are the wellspring of these narratives, shaping later religious and cultural traditions. Classical authors like Ovid, in his Metamorphoses, reinterpreted these myths for their time, exploring human resilience and divine intervention. Contemporary literature continues this engagement. Paulo Bacigalupi's The Water Knife flips the script, examining drought and water scarcity in a dystopian future, reflecting modern anxieties about resource control. J.G. Ballard's The Drowned World envisions a post-apocalyptic Earth submerged by rising sea levels, prompting reflection on humanity's adaptation to environmental change. These stories, across centuries, reveal our enduring fascination with floods, not just as disasters, but as metaphors for change, loss, and the cyclical nature of existence. For role-players and game masters, flood myths offer a treasure trove of inspiration. Imagine campaigns set in worlds shaped by ancient floods, where forgotten temples lie submerged beneath the waves and powerful artifacts await discovery. Characters could be descendants of flood survivors, carrying the weight of ancient prophecies or struggling with the consequences of divine wrath. Think of the moral dilemmas. Do your players rebuild on cursed lands or seek higher ground? Do they appease vengeful gods or defy their will? Flood myths can inspire unique character backgrounds, from devout priests seeking to appease the gods to cunning rogues who exploit the chaos of the flood's aftermath. Whether you're playing Chronicus Blasphemous or another TTRPG system, these ancient narratives can add depth, intrigue, and a touch of the epic to your games. So, dive into the depths of these myths and let your imagination be your guide. As we've explored, the story of Noah's Ark is just one iteration of a much older and more widespread narrative. Flood myths, found in cultures across the globe, speak to our shared human experience, our relationship with the divine, our vulnerability to nature's power, and our enduring hope for survival. The striking similarities between these myths, especially the parallels between the biblical flood and the Epic of Gilgamesh, raise fascinating questions about cultural exchange and the origins of religious beliefs. By studying comparative mythology, we gain a deeper understanding of the past and the present, recognizing the enduring power of these ancient narratives. And speaking of ancient narratives, if you're looking for a dark urban fantasy tale that explores these themes in a modern context, be sure to check out my novel, Chronicus Blasphemous, The Succubus Queen, available now on Kindle for only 99 pence. The link is in the description below. That's all for tonight. Krista here for Chronicus Blasphemous. I'll see you soon. Keep blasphemous, folks.